Hello everyone, what's up? Welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to be doing my Premier League Matchday 34 predictions because I haven't done a video like this in a while, and also the season's hotting up. We've got some really interesting games going on throughout the week because some teams are going to Wembley on the weekend for the FA Cup semi-finals. So just good, like their games are being played in midweek. So we'll have a look at them. We'll have a look at the weekend's matches as well because there's some really interesting games regarding the bottom and top of the table, relegation battles, title races, and also the race for Europe. So it's going to be really interesting. And if you're excited for it, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload. And now let's get into it. Alright, so starting with tonight's game, and that's Brighton against Chelsea. A big game regarding Europe. Chelsea, it looks like it's going to be a bit difficult for them to catch up to Liverpool, 7 points behind them. So probably have to settle for Europa League football, unless if a few things go wrong, like whoever wins the FA Cup and stuff. They could end up in the Conference League, but we'll see how that goes. Brighton, though, out of nowhere, they really turned their form around. Not that long ago, people were said they could even find themselves in a relegation battle, but they've really done well to turn this form around. And now 1 point off of 8th place Bournemouth. You would think the 8th place is going to be a European spot this season. But again, it depends on who wins the cup and all of that. But we'll see. And to be fair, they're only 1 point off of Chelsea in 6th, so never know. Europa League football could even be coming Brighton's way, depending on how their end to the season goes. And looking at their recent games, a draw to Tottenham on Saturday, going into a game wouldn't have been what they'd want with the form Tottenham's in. But it was a last-minute equaliser, and they would be really pleased that they managed to get that point right at the end. So, bit of an interesting one. But before then, win against Burnley away, Liverpool home, a big result. Also, Sunderland away. We know how hard they've been to beat at home this season. And Chelsea, they've lost 4 on the trot in the league. But the weird thing is just there really hasn't been that many Premier League games recently, considering was it FA Cup, international break, all of that. Because there has been stuff like the 7-0 Port Vale win sprinkled in that as well. But most recently, 1-0 loss to United on Saturday. 3-0 loss to City the week before, both of those at home. Everton 3-0 loss. Also the Newcastle 1-0 loss. So not great for them. But I will say Brighton win 2-1. Next up is the first of the 2 games happening tomorrow. It's Bournemouth and Leeds. Bournemouth currently 8th, and if they stay like this, they will be playing European football probably next season. And on the other hand, Leeds, at this point, they are 8 points above 18th place Tottenham. They're 15th. It looks like they're going to be staying up. So they really don't have too much to play for now. They're just got some freedom to play with, which is quite a nice place to be in. And they've really picked up some form recently. 3-0 win against Wolves on Saturday. And also that result against United was really good as well. So they're just in a good place here where their season's basically over competitively. They haven't really got anything to play for, but no, they can just enjoy the end to their first Premier League season back and begin to prepare for next season and hope to push up the table. Bournemouth certainly still looking for a European spot, be that Conference League, Europa League, whatever it is. And some massive results recently, beating Newcastle and Arsenal 2-1 away, both of those results. Also a draw to United. Did get that draw to Burnley, so that was a bit of a dip, but since then they've looked really good. And I'm finding this quite a difficult game to predict. And just because the freedom Leeds will be playing with and some of the results they've got recently, I'm going to say it'll be a 1-1 draw. But that could go Bournemouth's way. You never know, it could go Leeds' way as well. Now, next up, this is quite an interesting match. It's Burnley and Man City. And even though like the result you would think is going to be Man City, it's still a very interesting game for a few reasons. Firstly, Man City win and they go top of the table, which is just a big moment after how long Arsenal's been at the top of the table. And also, if Burnley can't get a point and lose, they're officially relegated and join Wolves to be definitely down in the Championship next season. So yeah, some big things there. But really, if we look at the form and everything, Burnley, I mean, all season haven't been in great form, but losses to Forest 4-1 and they were winning 1-0 for quite a long time during that match. Lost to Brighton at home for them, away loss as well. Yeah, they're just no form whatsoever, really. And Man City, well, they're going to be coming off of a 2-1 win against Arsenal, which, I mean, I think probably won them the league. So it's quite good form to be in. And they've also got their FA Cup semi-final, another doubt at Wembley for them to look forward to. So I can't really see a result which isn't Man City winning. I'm going to say 4-1. Next up, we've got Sunderland and Forest. And Sunderland are actually only 2 points off of 8th now, so you never know, it could still happen, but they look like a bit of an outside shout considering they are in 11th at the moment. Forest are in 16th, they're 5 points above Tottenham, who are in 18th. So you'd think they're probably out of it, they're in good form, but maybe a couple of dodgy results could drag them back into it. But both teams aren't like massively in a hunt for anything. Sunderland just be happy with this first season in the Premier League back, and yeah, just again a bit like Leeds, just a bit of freedom. And I mean, 3 goals at Villa Park on Sunday is good, but just a shame that Villa scored 4, but still an excellent game despite being a 4-3 loss. Also, that Tottenham win in De Zerbi's first game in charge, big result, really, in terms of Tottenham season mainly. And also, before the international break, that 2-1 win against Newcastle at St James's Park was obviously a great result for them. And then if we have a look at Forest's recent games, on Sunday they did have the Burnley game where they won 4-1. Excellent result in the end, considering for a while it looks like they were going to lose. And if they'd have lost that, they definitely would have been in a bit of trouble, to be honest. But with that, it just keeps their good form going, really. They just do look like a team who should, like a team fighting relegation. They seem to have a spirit and the desire to stay up. And also got Europe to focus on. They've got the semi-final against Villa in like a week and a half's time. But yeah, also draw to Villa not that long ago. So yeah, they're doing all right, and I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. Next up, we've got Fulham and Villa. Fulham currently in 12th place. They're 3 points behind 8th. So again, they could still get up there and into one of the European spots, but really the European race is so tight. Anyone really down to Fulham could get it realistically. I mean, Palace are 5 points off, but I still think that's probably a bit of a way at this point in the season. On the other hand, Villa, they're 10 points above 6th place Chelsea. You'd think they'd be fine for a Champions League spot. So again, that does give them a bit of freedom. Also preparing for their Europa League semi against Forest. Recently, of course, that excellent win against Sunderland. What a game, 4-3. The draw to Forest as well. And also, let's see, they've had a win against West Ham and also that Bologna tie in Europe. And Fulham are just like doing all right. Draw to Brentford. Lost to Liverpool's not the worst result despite their season. And a win against Burnley. Just nothing too out of the ordinary. And I do think they will lose this game 3-1. Next up, West Ham Everton. Now, this is a big game for both teams. West Ham, they are still in a relegation fight, 2 points above Tottenham. They're in 17th spot. A draw to Palace. Now, they had some chances to win that game. If they'd won it, you'd probably begin to write Tottenham off a bit, to be honest, at this stage in the season. Also, an excellent win, 4-0 against Wolves. That really felt like a massive result for them. That heavier win as well. And also before the international break, 2-0 loss to West Ham to Villa. That's not great. Also 1-1 draw to Man City. A bit like Forest, playing like they're in a relegation battle and just properly fighting. And let's have a look at Everton's form. They're currently 10th, still only 1 point off of 8th, but dropped down the table a little bit because, I mean, for a while they were even maybe asking for a 5th place spot, but now I think that's going to be a bit far off. Merseyside derby loss as well. Not going to be great for morale on Sunday. Also recently drew to European rivals Brentford. But that massive win against Chelsea as well was really good. And it's interesting because, of course, both teams have something to play for. But recently there's been a real fight in West Ham, really, since that win against Tottenham in January. So I think it'll be a good game. I'm going to say 2-2. I think it'll be really competitive. Both teams will be up for it, and I just think it's going to end up as a draw. But I think that'll be a really tight game. Definitely could go either way. Next up, we've got Liverpool and Palace. Well, Liverpool, they're 5th, they're 7 points above Chelsea. Not too much to play for. You'd think Champions League is going to be okay for them. Of course, definitely an underwhelming season. They would want to be in a title race here, but that's just how it's gone. But it looks like they'll be back in the Champions League. Palace, they're 13th again, 5 points off of 8th. Not a massive amount to play for. So, again, a bit of freedom. The real focus for them at this point will now be the Conference League. Semi-final against Shakhtar coming up. If they win that, they're in the final, and yeah, I think they've got a good chance of winning that, and that really is going to be their main shot at getting back into Europe for next season. And having a look at their recent form, that 0-0 draw to West Ham last night, just meh, really. Win against Newcastle, but they're not in great form. A draw to Leeds as well. They're just meh results. Nothing too much to be said, and really in the league, nothing too much to be said about their whole season. Just being summed up with lots of those types of results. Liverpool, well, they've been in the Champions League, not the best of results really, was it? Losing 4-0 on aggregate to PSG, but a really good Merseyside derby win and a really good win against Fulham as well. So some decent results since the international break in the league, and it's basically cemented their Champions League spot. So with that bit of freedom that they've now got, and maybe a bit more of a rhythm to them, I do think they're going to get a 3-1 win here. Now, this is a really interesting game. Wolves and Tottenham. This is a bit of an interesting one because Wolves, despite having a bit of confidence and looking, just like having a bit of momentum in recent weeks with some good results, since then, form's really not been there. Losing 3-0 to Leeds and also 4-0 to West Ham. And I mean, they're down now, which does mean, there's no pressure on them. And I think with that bit of freedom, that will, again, like a few of these teams, sort of mid-table with nothing to play for, it just does give them a bit of freedom. I know they're not going to be happy that they're relegated, but now it's about pride and, having some momentum to work with going into next season and hopefully coming straight back up. Because they have had some good results, like the win against Liverpool, a draw to Brentford as well, beating Villa, of course. So, yeah, it's not awful. They just need to build some momentum now for next season. On the other hand, Tottenham, well, of course, with that performance and everything, there were promising signs, weren't there? drawing to Brighton, but I think a last minute equaliser like that, it just feels like they can't catch a break. Nothing's going their way, and I just think that's really going to put it down on them. The loss against Sunderland, it's just like you can say, oh, we maybe could have got something out of that game, more out of that game, or you know, that there's some good sign from the performance. But at this stage of the season, you need points. You need points. They're 2 points adrift from safety now, and I just don't think that squad's really. They're just not relegation battle players who have this type of experience, and I think a pretty disappointing game. It's going to be a 0-0 draw. Next up, we've got Arsenal and Newcastle. Well, Arsenal, that's going to be really hard for them to take that 2-1 loss to City. It now looks like, when you consider, probably by the time they play this game, they're going to be sat in second. It's not going to be great for them. Recently, as well as lost to City, a loss to Bournemouth, which really, that sort of felt like where it started, where they're really drifting away. Of course, not great to lose to Southampton in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup as well. But yeah, that's really not going to be great for them. If we have a look at Newcastle, though, it's been a real disappointing season for them. 6 points off 8th. They really aren't going to get it now, are they? And probably no Europe for them. So that'll be disappointing for them with how good they've been in recent years. But they're just going to have to, use this as an opportunity to focus on the league next season and push for hopefully returning to the Champions League. But as I've said, freedom, they'll have some freedom to play with, but really, recent results, lost to Bournemouth, lost to Palace, and of course that loss to Sunderland, really not good. So I just think with that lack of any form or anything, Arsenal will still get a result here. I'm going to say a 2-0 win. And lastly, on Monday night, we've got Man U and Brentford. Now, Man U, they are 10 points above Chelsea in 6th. Their Champions League spot is all but cemented, really. And if we look at recent results, it's a good win for them. That game against Chelsea, 1-0, basically secured it for them. Also, that loss to Leeds, not great. A draw to Bournemouth as well. But still, they don't have to worry too much with those results. A team who probably do have to fight a bit more is Brentford, who currently 7th, tied on points with Bournemouth in 8th. And lots of draws recently for them. Have a look, a 0-0 draw to Fulham, 2-2 draw to Everton, a 0-0 draw to Leeds, a 2-2 draw to Wolves. They're all not really the results they want. They want to be getting points and kind of securing that they will get that Europe spot, because they've been class all season, really good, but they just need to stick in until the end of the season. Still got to play City and Liverpool away as well, so it's going to be tough for them. I do think overall Man U are just going to have that extra bit of quality in the game. I think it's going to be a 2-1 win for United. I just think lots of these games have been disappointing to draw. Like when you look at the Fulham game or the Leeds game, and I think they're going to lose that. And maybe if we have a look at like Bournemouth, I've had that they're going to get a point against Leeds. Who else? I said Brighton would get a win, maybe drop down a bit, and maybe with those tough games coming up, they are actually going to struggle a bit, but we'll see how that goes. And that concludes the video. I hope you enjoyed that. Yes, as I said, not done this for a while, but I thought with all the competition hotting up, I thought I'd do one of these. And yeah, I enjoyed it. Let me know your predictions for the week. Love to see them. And also, if you've got any video ideas, let me know about them. Like to see them as well. And yeah, next video will probably be next week, and I'm gonna do an EFL video talking about all of my final day predictions probably. And I've done this before where I have like what I think the final table will be as well, because no doubt on the final day there'll be still a lot up for grabs in League 2, League 1 and the Championship. And then I'll do the same for the Premier League when that comes along as well. And apart from that, as I said at the start of the video, like, subscribe, all of that. And one thing left to say, bye and peace.